Our planet holds natural wonders so extraordinary that they seem to exceed the limits of reality. These places were shaped by ancient tectonic forces, where time and stone have together created landscapes beyond imagination. Scattered across continents, hidden among rugged mountains and untouched lands, lie treasures protected by UNESCO. Today, we'll explore some of the world's rarest corners, from million-year-old waterfalls to primeval forests untouched by human footsteps. Each destination is a world of its own. Get ready for a magical journey to discover the mysterious masterpieces of our planet. Stonehenge rises from the Salisbury Plain like an impossible monument that defies every limit of prehistory. In the stillness of the flatland, dozens of massive sandstone blocks, each weighing up to 40 tons, were raised, stacked, and arranged in a perfectly precise circle. More than 4,000 years ago, before the wheel, metal, or mechanical tools existed, people somehow transported those stones from a site over 200 kilometers away, a journey far beyond what ancient humans should have been capable of. The structure of Stonehenge is a surreal feat of engineering. The horizontal stones rest atop vertical pillars using the tongue and groove technique, exactly like the joints used in modern wooden construction. The stones are aligned with the movement of the sun and astronomical cycles, showing that this site was not merely a religious relic, but also a time-measuring instrument of a civilization that understood the laws of the cosmos. Each stone has stood firm for millennia without tilting, proving that its builders calculated soil stability, center of gravity, and balance with extraordinary precision. From above, Stonehenge appears like a colossal gear of the planet, where geometry, gravity, and belief are fused into a single structure. The barren landscape around it only emphasizes its human-made perfection, a flawless circle lost amid nature, as if humanity once held the secret to the workings of heaven and earth, only to vanish without a trace. Cappadocia is one of the most surreal and otherworldly landscapes on Earth, located in central Turkey. This land is renowned for its ancient volcanic terrain, eroded and sculpted into countless stone pillars, towers, and valleys of bizarre shapes, forming a scenery that looks as if it belongs to another planet. Geologists regard this place as a living map of ancient volcanic activity, where every colored layer in the rock records the history of each eruption. The unique structure of Cappadocia allows the softer rock to erode quickly, while the harder cores remain, creating thousands of balancing stone pillars standing firm across the arid land. At their feet, countless exposed strata reveal cross-sections of the earth, showing that the process of erosion is still unfolding every single day. This land tells not only the story of stone, but also of people and adaptation. Ancient inhabitants carved deeply into the soft rock to create homes, storerooms, and shelters, an architecture perfectly integrated with nature. In this almost unreal, parched landscape, life persists thanks to the stone itself, insulating, retaining moisture, and protecting. Today, Cappadocia has become an open planet for travelers, a place where one can walk among strange rock formations, as if stepping onto the moon, feeling the power of wind and time that has shaped an entire world. Each valley, each pillar stands as a reminder that nature does not merely create beauty, it writes stories beyond the reach of human imagination. Petra in southern Jordan is one of the most spectacular ancient cities in the world, built by the Nabateans more than 2,000 years ago. Set amid arid desert and towering red sandstone mountains, it was once a thriving trading hub linking Arabia, Egypt, and the Mediterranean through the ancient incense trade routes. The entrance to Petra is the Sick, a narrow gorge nearly 3/4 of a mile long, with cliffs rising more than 260 feet on both sides. This winding path leads directly to the most famous monument, Al-Khazna, or the Treasury. Its facade is intricately carved from rose-red rock, featuring Corinthian columns, Greek deities, and floral details, blending Nabatean artistry with classical Mediterranean architecture. Inside Petra, visitors encounter the Casa Albint Temple, the Roman theatre with seating for 3,000 people, and countless tombs, sanctuaries, and water cisterns showcasing the Nabateans' advanced hydraulic engineering. The city was designed to harvest rainwater and channel it through an underground network, ensuring a reliable water supply in the harsh desert environment. High above the cliffs, the monastery of Adair stands with a massive facade nearly 160 feet tall. From here, sweeping views of Petra and the surrounding valley reveal why this ancient city is called the Rose Red City and why it was designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1985. The Rock Islands lie in the Philippine Sea, within the nation of Palau. More than 300 limestone islets covered in forest, rising from turquoise waters so clear you can see the sea floor dozens of meters below. From above, the archipelago appears as a constellation of green drops scattered across the ocean, each island shaped like a mushroom. Its base narrowed by thousands of years of erosion from waves and tides. These islands were formed from ancient coral deposits, accumulated over millions of years, later uplifted by tectonic movement beneath the ocean floor. As sea levels rose, the limestone masses became isolated, suspended between water and sky. Wind and waves carved into their bases, forming caves, hidden lagoons, and sheltered bays, where the color of water shifts constantly from jade to deep blue, depending on the depth. Some lakes are completely sealed off, connected to the ocean only through narrow cracks in the rock, preserving ecosystems untouched by time or people. The waters around the Rock Islands are so clear, they reflect entire canopies of trees above. Coral grows right at the foot of the cliffs, while within the islands lie saltwater lakes inhabited by strange life, jellyfish, and bioluminescent microorganisms existing in a delicate balance. As the tides rise, water seeps through the rock. When it falls, it carries away fine minerals, leaving shimmering films on the surface that make the islands appear coated in glass. The Rock Islands are a perfect intersection of geology and life, from fossilized coral to the moss on stone walls. Everything here is a product of time. There is no true border between island and sea, only the constant motion of water and rock, where the ocean not only surrounds the land, but sculpts it, supports it, and keeps it alive. Pamukkale is one of the most famous and surreal natural wonders of Turkey, located in the southwestern region of the country. The name Pamukkale means cotton castle in Turkish. From afar, it looks like a mountain covered in pure white snow, but in reality, it is entirely made of limestone and crystallized calcium deposits. Pamukkale is renowned for its cascading natural mineral pools, formed by hot springs rich in calcium carbonate that have flowed down the mountainside for thousands of years. As the water cools, calcium crystallizes, creating dazzling white terraces that resemble frozen waterfalls. The entire formation stretches nearly 2 miles long and rises over 300 feet high, and it continues to grow every year as new layers of minerals accumulate, a geological process happening right now before our eyes. The landscape of Pamukkale feels almost otherworldly, as though it belongs to another planet. Hundreds of small, tiered pools curve gracefully, filled with pale blue water that mirrors the blinding white rock beneath. Some pool surfaces are still and glass-like, while others ripple at the edges like melted wax, a geological sculpture, both soft and solid, seemingly crafted by human hands. Pamukkale is not only a natural masterpiece, but also a living proof of balance among water, stone, and time. The hot mineral springs continue to build new terraces layer by layer, making this place a living monument, a natural creation that grows silently day after day. Bora lies in the heart of the Pacific Ocean, part of the Society Islands of French Polynesia, where an ancient volcano has sunk halfway beneath the sea, leaving behind a perfect ring of coral encircling a lagoon of crystalline blue. At the center of this ring rises Mount Otamanu, nearly 730 meters tall, a volcanic spire around which the entire island orbits. From above, Bora looks like the blue eye of the ocean, calm at its core, yet surrounded by the constant motion of water. The island's soil is thin and dry, formed from volcanic ash mixed with coral sand. At the base of the mountain, basalt slopes eroded by rain and wind meet groves of palms, pandanus, and coastal shrubs clinging to the dark earth. Around the island, white sand curves into a smooth perimeter, but Bora's true structure lies beneath the surface. Ancient volcanic rock, young coral sands, and an outer reef system forming a massive natural barrier that keeps the inner lagoon as still as glass. Beneath the lagoon, the seafloor is as intricate as a three-dimensional map. Sinkholes, ridges, and the remains of the volcano's rim refract sunlight into layers of shifting color. Narrow channels connect the lagoon to the ocean, opening and closing with the tides, moving water in a steady rhythm that filters and renews the ecosystem without any human interference. Bora is not merely an island, but a living geological structure. Every rock layer, every coral ring, every ripple of water is a link in the vast, self-renewing system of the ocean. Where fire once erupted, water now soothes. Where ash once fell, coral now grows. Proof of how the earth transforms destruction into creation. The Sydney Opera House is a structure where architecture and acoustics not only collaborate, they coexist within a single physical entity. Situated beside an ancient natural harbour, it stands on a foundation of sandstone millions of years old, a rock with extremely low sound resonance. The shells are assembled from more than 1 million Swedish ceramic tiles, each capable of reflecting light differently. When joined together, they form a natural reflective system. Light doesn't shine directly, but scatters into shimmering halos across the water. Visually, this is breathing architecture. It transforms constantly depending on the viewing angle, like a living organism in motion. The acoustic structure inside relies on the natural phenomenon of standing waves. Each wooden panel is carved to mimic the form of a sound wave, so every note emitted splits into thousands of smaller waves, reducing collision and creating the crystal-clear tone that defines its sound. Beneath the harbour, the foundation connects the ancient rock to metallic pillars extending 82 feet deep. As tides shift, the entire building moves less than 1/12 of an inch, imperceptible to the eye, yet enough to alter the resonance within the hall each hour. This architecture does not stand still. It continuously interacts with the earth. Geirangerfjord is one of the most famous fjords in the world, recognized by UNESCO as a World Natural Heritage Site. Stretching nearly 15 kilometers inland, seawater cuts deep between two towering mountain ranges that rise more than 1,000 meters above sea level, forming a rare landscape where the surface of the water lies flat as a mirror. The surface of Geirangerfjord is unnaturally still, yet it plunges to depths of more than 800 feet, where cold seawater mixes with glacial melt from above. White waterfalls, like giant silver threads, cascade down the cliffs, many dropping from heights of over 1,000 feet before dissolving into mist mid-air. Traces of old villages still cling to the mountainsides. A few small wooden roofs gripping the slopes where people once lived in complete isolation. The road descending toward the fjord winds around the mountains, each turn revealing a new view, sometimes a mirror-flat expanse of water, other times waterfalls suspended in the mist. Geirangerfjord is a living testament to the power of glaciers, forces capable of tearing through rock, reshaping the land, and retreating in silence. Its beauty comes not from softness, but from the absolute precision of nature. Every cliff, every body of water, every falling stream follows an invisible order, making the entire landscape both still like a painting and alive like a planet breathing. The Golden Mountains of Altai lie at the crossroads of Siberia, Mongolia, Kazakhstan, and China, a vast highland known as the Roof of Asia. This mountain range includes peaks of eternal snow, deep valleys, and ancient glaciers, where the terrain still retains the shape carved by the Ice Age. Light reflecting off the snow and silvery granite makes the entire range shine like metal, a phenomenon that inspired the Russians to call it the Golden Altai. The landscape of Altai was formed by the collision of continental plates hundreds of millions of years ago, pushing rock upward into folded walls like waves. Among these slopes lie hundreds of glacial lakes, where the water is so clear that the sky seems to dissolve into their depths. When the ice melts, the entire mountain range moves, thick layers of ice crack apart, and torrents cascade downward, forming silver waterfalls miles long. The ground trembles slightly, not from earthquakes, but from the slow movement of ice under its own weight. Above, snow reflects sunlight into pale golden bands, making the whole landscape appear coated in living metal. The Golden Mountains of Altai form the boundary between worlds, where Europe meets Asia, forest meets ice, earth meets sky. Nowhere else reveals so clearly the process of Earth shaping itself, rock rising, ice descending, water sculpting, a land both ancient and newly born in the very moment it exists. The old town of Prague is not merely an old quarter. It is a living, geological structure of Europe. The entire area was built upon soil that has sunk for more than 1 millennium, causing houses, streets, and underground tunnels to stack upon each other like layers of cultural sediment. In some places, today's street level rises 2 stories above the old ones. The city lifted itself to escape the river, yet never erased its past. The Gothic, Baroque, and Romanesque structures here are not arranged by chronology, but intertwined like the DNA of stone. The arches, towers, and frames all follow the golden ratio, yet each is adjusted by a few degrees so the human eye perceives life, not perfection. This deliberate deviation gives Prague the illusion of moving silently. The primary material of the district is local sandstone, a porous rock that absorbs moisture and changes hue with the climate. Seen from afar, the entire town becomes a multicolored mass. Gray walls, red roofs, and the blue river blending together like a scene painted upon glass. Beneath the city lies an ancient network of tunnels, stretching for dozens of kilometers, many still functioning as part of the original drainage system. Down there, humidity and temperature remain so stable that ancient moss and bacteria still survive. People say Prague is preserved not only by stone, but by the microscopic ecosystem of the past that still breathes. Banff National Park is one of the few places on the planet where the Earth's restructuring can be witnessed in real time. The mountains here are not only uplifted, but still moving at a rate of just a few millimeters per year. As the continental plates continue to press together. Layers of limestone and shale are bent and twisted, forming immense rock waves stretching toward the horizon. Beneath the mountains, a network of hot mineral springs is formed as water seeps deep into the ground and returns through fractures. This water, rich in sulfur and dissolved minerals, cools and crystallizes into white deposits that cling to the rock. From a distance, Banff's slopes appear coated in a silvery crust, a natural mineral skin of the earth. The rivers and lakes here are fed by glacial melt. Ancient ice preserves air and cosmic dust, and as it melts, millions of microscopic bubbles are released, causing the water's surface to shimmer faintly. The turquoise color of the lakes does not come from the water itself, but from glacial flour. Rock ground so fine, it reflects blue light like liquid glass. At the highest elevations, glaciers slide slowly down the slopes, producing deep, resonant sounds. It is the sound of rock in motion, the continent adjusting itself. People say Banff is not only a place to see the earth, but to hear it. Huascarán National Park lies at the highest core of the Andes, where altitudes surpass 22,000 feet, and physics itself becomes extreme. The air is so thin that sound echoes more slowly, and gravity feels lighter, causing glaciers to slide irregularly. Many geologists call this place a natural laboratory of low pressure. Inside the mountains, ice crystals interlace with granite veins, creating a dual structure. The rock bends under immense pressure, while the ice keeps moving. When sunlight strikes, the two materials reflect light out of phase, making the mountain appear to tremble even when no movement is visible to the eye. Ancient glaciers have formed a network of high-altitude lakes where the water holds such high concentrations of silica and calcium that it reflects a deep blue hue that seems almost artificial. This layer of water naturally filters ultraviolet rays, allowing microscopic organisms to survive at heights where life nearly ceases. Along the cliffs, bands of dark green polar moss cling tightly, capable of photosynthesis under low-pressure conditions. Each rock here is not just inert matter, it is a living reservoir of oxygen, where the planet learns to breathe at the outer edge of its biological zone. Stretching over 13,000 miles through mountains, deserts, and grasslands of northern China, the Great Wall is not only a defense structure, but also the horizon of human history. Built across many dynasties over more than 2,000 years, this massive wall combines bricks, stone blocks, and rammed earth into a chain of fortresses, deep moats, and watchtowers, extending far beyond what the eye can see. Its most unique feature lies in how the architecture adapts to the terrain. At Shanghai Pass, the wall winds along the coastline. In Gansu, it crosses the arid Gobi Desert. And near Beijing, steep stairways rise sharply into the blue sky. Each section reflects a different period of history and building techniques, forming a colossal mosaic stretching across both time and space. Behind its grandeur are enduring mysteries. Legends tell of ghostly soldiers patrolling the wall at night, while ancient texts hint at secret chambers buried deep within its structure. The wall is not just a barrier, but a testament to China's cultural endurance, merging history, legend, and architectural marvel into one of the greatest wonders of the world. Machu Picchu lies in the Andes at an altitude of nearly 8,000 feet and is the most famous heritage site of the Inca civilization. Hidden among clouds and steep cliffs, this ancient city was forgotten by the outside world for centuries before being rediscovered in 1911 by explorer Hiram Bingham. The entire complex includes more than 200 grey stone structures, from palaces and temples to residential areas and terraced fields. Remarkably, the massive stones, weighing several tons each, were fitted so precisely that not even a knife blade can fit between them, all crafted by hand without mortar. This construction technique has allowed Machu Picchu to withstand earthquakes and the passage of time. The highlight of the complex is Intihuatana, a carved stone believed to be an astronomical tool for the Incas to track the sun's movements. Alongside it are the semicircular Temple of the Sun and the Three Windows area, both carrying deep religious significance and reflecting the Incas' advanced architecture and spirituality. Today, visitors can either hike the Inca Trail or take a train from Cusco to reach Machu Picchu. Along the winding stone steps, the site of ancient structures and wild mountain landscapes emerging from the mist gives this place an unforgettable aura of mystery. Recognized by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site, Machu Picchu stands not only as an archaeological wonder, but also as a cultural symbol of all South America. Alhambra, located on Subic Hill in the city of Granada in southern Spain, is one of Europe's most renowned palace-fortress complexes, blending exquisite Islamic architecture with breathtaking natural scenery. Built mainly in the 13th to 14th centuries under the Nasrid dynasty, Alhambra was once the center of power for the last Muslim kingdom on the Iberian Peninsula. The Alhambra complex includes the Royal Palace, the Alcazaba Fortress, the Generalife Gardens, and numerous watchtowers and gates. Its deep red walls encircle the entire area, standing out vividly against the blue Andalusian sky, creating an impression of both strength and romance. Inside the palaces are masterpieces of Islamic architecture, intricately carved, vaulted ceilings, walls adorned with Arabic inscriptions, and serene courtyards with graceful fountains. The most famous is the Court of the Lions, where a fountain rests upon the backs of 12 marble lion statues, symbolizing strength and authority. Alhambra is also renowned for its ingenious water system, channeling water from the Darro River through gardens, courtyards, and fountains, filling the entire complex with the gentle sound of flowing water. The combination of hydraulic engineering, decorative art, and the surrounding mountain landscape makes Alhambra one of the most practical yet poetic monuments of medieval Europe. Wahipounamu lies in the southwestern corner of New Zealand, covering more than 2 million hectares. It includes 4 connected national parks: Fiordland, Mount Aspiring, Westland, and Aoraki, forming a vast landscape where ice, rock, and water coexist in a single instant. This is a place where Earth's motion can be seen with the naked eye as mountains, glaciers, and the sea continue to carve each other's forms. The mountain ranges of Wahipounamu were born from the collision of 2 tectonic plates, forcing rock upward while ancient glaciers cut downward, sculpting deep valleys and immense fjords. The Tasman Glacier, stretching nearly 30 kilometers, slides across granite bedrock, leaving behind surfaces polished like metal, while waterfalls plunge hundreds of meters down cliffs into blue glacial lakes below. Every contour here was shaped by ice and continues to be reshaped by it. Amid the snow-covered cliffs grows a dense, temperate rainforest, rooted in cold, damp soil. Ferns, mosses, and ancient trees cling to the slopes, weaving a seamless green canopy with no beginning or end. Rain, melting ice, and ocean mist blend together, thickening the air until light bends through each droplet. It is a place where the boundaries between mountain, forest, and cloud dissolve completely. To Wahipounamu is where the planet's primal essence still exists without memory. Ice, water, and stone take turns occupying space. When one retreats, another advances. Nothing here stands still, not even the mountains. Within this landscape, one can see Earth not as a fixed mass, but as a living being, shedding its skin through its own matter. Bwindi, Impenetrable Forest lies in southwestern Uganda, on the edge of the Great African Rift Valley, a place where the land folds sharply and the forest grows so thick that light barely makes it through. The landscape is a blend of ancient rainforest, steep mountain slopes, and deep streams hidden beneath the canopy, forming a green mass so dense it's called the Impenetrable Forest. This is one of the oldest forests on Earth, having existed continuously for more than 25,000 years. The ground of Bwindi is a maze of roots, mud, and wet rocks. The slope shifts suddenly, so every step feels like walking through layers of geological time. Small streams flow down the hillsides, merging with rainfall to form a dense web of waterways across the entire forest. As moisture rises, the canopy and clouds blend together, turning the air into a thick, slow-moving body where everything seems alive, even the soil and the mist. Bwindi is where life reaches its greatest density. Every surface is covered by something living: tree, moss, water, or vapor. The forest doesn't open outward, but turns inward, creating its own climate, water, and light. It is not just an ecosystem, but a living organism, where everything breathes in rhythm, existing in the absolute silence of endless motion. Plitvice Lakes National Park in Croatia is a natural labyrinth where 16 crystal-clear lakes are linked by hundreds of foaming waterfalls. Nestled in the Dinaric Alps, the entire park appears like a living painting of water, stone, and forest. The Plitvice lakes were formed by travertine deposits, a special kind of limestone created by algae and moss over thousands of years. These natural terraces divide the flow into countless waterfalls, from the towering 256-foot Veliki Slap to delicate curtains of mist. Each lake shines with its own color, deep blue, emerald green, or golden hues, depending on light and minerals. The scenery of Plitvice shifts with the seasons. In spring and summer, lush green forests embrace the transparent lakes. In autumn, golden and red leaves mirror on the water. And in winter, the entire landscape freezes into a surreal icy kingdom. This constant transformation ensures the place feels new, even to those who return again and again. Recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site since 1979, Plitvice is both a natural wonder and a symbol of fragile balance. Walking the wooden paths above the water, visitors witness not only the spectacular beauty of waterfalls, but also the eternal life flowing through every cascade. Halong Bay stretches across the Gulf of Tonkin, with more than 1,600 limestone islands rising from the emerald water. Strange rock formations covered in greenery reflect the shimmering light of the bay, creating a surreal landscape as if born from legend. This scenery was shaped over millions of years through weathering and erosion. The sea and wind carved the limestone into sharp towers, vaulted caves, and unique hollows. Many islands still hide magnificent caverns, such as Sangsot Cave and Thien Kung Cave, where glittering stalactites sparkle in the shadows, creating an otherworldly spectacle. Beyond geological beauty, Halong is tied to legend. The Vietnamese tell of a mother dragon and her offspring descending, releasing pearls and jade that became the stone islands protecting the land. The name Ha Long, meaning descending dragon, has made the bay a symbol that is both real and mythical. You journey aboard wooden sailboats, weaving between the green-clad islands gives visitors the feeling of drifting through a giant watercolor painting. When mist drapes over the sea and gentle waves lap the hull, Ha Long emerges both majestic and dreamlike, like an endless seascape that never fades. Florence is not merely a city. It is a geological layer of civilization where humanity has engraved its ideas into stone for 6 centuries. The old center of Florence is recognized by UNESCO for its continuous creativity over more than 6 centuries, where Gothic, Baroque, and Renaissance structures interlace like melodies of time. The highlight is the dome of Santa Maria del Fiore, a brick and stone vault standing for hundreds of years without any external support frame. It remains the largest brick dome ever built. Beneath it lies the ancient foundation, the remains of the old Santa Reparata Church, still rest beneath the current floor. The urban memory embedded between the stones. The facades of Florence's buildings are covered in multicolored marble, white, pink and green, not only for decoration, but to interact with natural light. The uneven textures make the stones appear fluid when viewed from an angle, giving the impression of a city molded from liquid matter, slowly turning solid. Beneath the city runs a network of underground tunnels and core stone foundations where groundwater, cracks, humidity, and soil pressure have interacted for centuries. Some of the fractures visible on the dome are still monitored with deformation instruments. Florence does not sleep. It remains tense, balancing preservation and transformation. The Great Barrier Reef stretches for more than 1,400 miles along Australia's eastern coast and is the largest biological structure ever created on Earth. Thousands of coral reefs, small islands, and sandbanks connect into one continuous chain, appearing from space as a massive turquoise ribbon floating on the ocean. The entire system is not made of rock or soil, but built by billions of tiny living organisms, each only a few millimeters long, yet together forming a creation visible from orbit. Beneath the clear water, corals are formed from calcium secreted by polyps, soft-bodied creatures that live collectively inside the hard structures they build. Over millions of years, they accumulate, die, and new layers grow on top, gradually creating a colossal natural wall as long as an entire nation. The system is both fragile and immense, serving as the border between the shallow sea and the deep Pacific Ocean. The Great Barrier Reef is home to more than 9,000 species, from sharks and sea turtles to fan corals, seaweed, and glowing microorganisms. Each reef is its own world, where ocean currents, water light, and symbiosis maintain the balance of life. Under the stress of climate change and warming currents, corals may lose their color, but soon after, new layers begin to grow again, rebuilding the structure to the rhythm of the sea. Amid the boundless ocean, the Great Barrier Reef functions as a vast living organism, constantly being born, dying, and regenerating. It is not merely a coral reef, but Earth's own process of rebuilding itself through life. Every tide and every wave leaves traces of this movement, turning the entire sea into a body breathing with blue light. The Badain-Jaran Desert in western Inner Mongolia, China, holds the title of the world's tallest sand dunes. Covering more than 19,000 square miles, this vast expanse rises in towering waves of golden sand, some dunes reaching 1,600 feet high, against the deep blue sky, creating a landscape so surreal it feels like another planet. The name Badain-Jaran in Mongolian means hundreds of mysterious lakes. Strangely, within this barren desert lie more than 140 lakes nestled between the dunes, some salty, others fresh, sustaining pockets of vegetation and flocks of migratory birds. The water comes from underground springs that flow beneath the sand, turning the desert into a hidden oasis disguised as emptiness. When the wind sweeps across the massive dunes, they emit deep, resonant sounds known as the singing sands. a rare natural phenomenon that can be heard miles away. Ancient travelers believed these voices were the spirits of the wind. The sand here is fine, amber-colored, and glows under the desert sun, making each dune shimmer as if it were alive. Scientists call Geirangerfjord a natural laboratory of wind and water, where two opposing forces coexist in harmony. From the summit of its highest dunes, the view reveals an endless golden ocean dotted with sapphire lakes resting in silence, a breathtaking balance of extremes carved by time itself. The Giant's Causeway rises from rock and fire like a massive scar where Earth once boiled and shaped the world. Lying on the northern coast of Northern Ireland, this place is not merely a stretch of stones, but the crystallization of a volcanic eruption more than 60 million years ago. As the lava cooled and contracted, the ground cracked into tens of thousands of hexagonal basalt columns that fit together so precisely that people once believed it was the work of some giant hand. Amid that primal landscape, over 40,000 basalt columns rise from the sea, arranged like a vast crystal lattice, so orderly it seems beyond logic. Each column stands at a different height, the lower ones drowned by waves, the higher ones stacked like stairways leading into the ocean. The dense basalt, harder than concrete, has preserved its form for millions of years, a deep engraving of time turned to stone. Today, the Giant's Causeway is recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Yet beyond all titles, it endures as proof of Earth's primal creative power, where stone became geometry and ancient fire still seems to echo beneath the hardened basalt. It is not merely a wonder, but a fossilized code of nature itself, where humanity stands in awe of the unexpected perfection of its own planet. The flow country spreads out like an ocean of frozen earth, where the surface of the planet turns itself into a massive climate storage machine. Stretching across more than 4,000 square kilometers in the far north of Scotland, this land is neither forest nor plain. It is an ancient peat system, dozens of feet deep, formed over more than 10,000 years. Beneath the ground, billions of tons of carbon are sealed away by dense layers of sphagnum moss. Scientists have determined that every square yard of the flow country stores an average of 50 kilograms of carbon, making it one of the largest natural climate vaults on the planet. If this peatland were to dry or be disturbed, the carbon it would release would far exceed what any forest could absorb. This is why the region is known as a natural wall that keeps the Earth from heating itself. The landscape of the flow country is both motionless and alive. The ground trembles softly underfoot, and thousands of small locks scatter across the surface like the breathing pores of the planet. There are no mountains, no tall forests, only endless level space where soil, water, and air merge into a single living body. The flow country is not just land, it is the biological memory of Earth. It records how the planet has preserved life for millennia, where nature continues to move at its own pace, slow but enduring, as if time itself has paused here to guard the coldest soul of the world. Shirakami-Sanchi lies along the border of Aomori and Akita prefectures in northern Honshu, where the mountain range curves like a giant shield, blocking winds from the Sea of Japan. Covering more than 320,000 acres, it is the last remaining primeval beech forest in East Asia, an ecosystem virtually untouched by humans. The structure of Shirakami-Sanchi was formed from ancient sedimentary blocks uplifted over millions of years, creating a complex terrain of deep valleys and steep slopes. Meltwater from winter snow flows down through underground streams, keeping the soil moist and rich in minerals. The perfect condition for the beech forest to grow into the thickest ecological layer in Japan. Inside, the forest is so dense that sunlight penetrates only through narrow gaps in the canopy. Centuries-old beeches grow closely together, their roots intertwining like the muscle fibers of a giant living being. Japanese black bears, monkeys, long-billed birds, and hundreds of insect species inhabit the forest. Creatures that have lived here long before humans ever appeared in this region. Shirakami-Sanchi is Japan's most intact natural memory. It is not a museum nor a tourist site, but a biological memory of the Earth, where the forest still breathes to the rhythm of the mountains. The waters still flow in their ancient paths, and everything retains the shape it first took when life began to cover stone. Uluru is not just a rock, it is the largest single geological structure on the planet, weighing millions of tons, rising as the exposed crest of a buried mountain range. More than 2/3 of Uluru lies hidden underground, connecting to an ancient sandstone system formed nearly 500 million years ago, serving as a stabilizing pillar for the entire central desert of Australia. Its composition is Arkose sandstone, rich in feldspar, a mineral that reacts slowly with oxygen. When exposed to dry air, feldspar transforms into iron oxide, creating its iconic red hue. What's remarkable is that the color is not constant. The rock's surface absorbs microscopic moisture from the atmosphere, causing the oxide layer to shift continuously as if Uluru were breathing through its mineral pores. Across its surface, thousands of bowl-shaped depressions have formed due to micro-melting of rock under intense heat. Each small cavity gathers condensed vapor, beginning a cycle of evaporation, absorption, and dissolution that regenerates the stone on a millimetric scale. Thus, Uluru does not erode. It is slowly reconfiguring its own structure. Inside the monolith, fine vertical veins contain iron and manganese minerals that conduct weak electric currents. When the Earth's magnetic field shifts, Uluru produces faint induction currents, small enough to register on seismic instruments. Uluru does not simply stand motionless in the desert. It is a mass with real energetic pulse, interacting with the planet in ways invisible to the eye. Dubrovnik Old Town lies at the edge of Dalmatia, where the Adriatic coast is pressed tightly between mountains and sea. The city was built directly upon a narrow strip of limestone, the only dry ground between the waves and the abyss. Encircling it are fortress walls that merge with the cliffs, raised not just to protect people, but to keep the land itself from being torn apart by the sea. From above, the city looks like a single slab of stone rising from the ocean. The Adriatic around Dubrovnik is far from gentle. Winds laden with salt blow year-round, corroding everything metallic until only stone can survive. That same salt and wind have polished the city's walls to a silvery white, making the town shimmer like a massive seashell. Standing on the wall feels like being caught between two opposing forces, one from the land, one from the sea, where no boundary ever stays fixed. Within those walls, The city operates like a living organism, compact, dense, yet perpetually circulating. Moisture from the sea seeps into each block of stone, only to be drawn out again by sunlight, keeping the structure in constant exchange with its surroundings. The salty air bleaches the stone, but preserves its shape, a form of durability born from erosion itself. Dubrovnik neither grows taller nor expands outward. It simply stands still before the natural forces that surround it. Among rock, sea, and wind, the city endures as proof that some places do not need to grow to last. They only need to stand in perfect balance between endurance and decay. Phong Nha Ke Bang National Park is one of the greatest natural wonders of Vietnam and the world, located in Quang Binh Province within the majestic Truong Son Range. It is famous for its system of caves and some of the oldest limestone mountains in Asia, formed more than 400 million years ago. A geological heritage that records the evolution of the Earth from its earliest days. The rock formations here are not still. They change with each passing millennium as underground rivers continue to carve deeper into the mountains, expanding tunnels and creating vast new chambers. The limestone layer, thousands of feet thick, is constantly eroded, forming arches and stone pillars that can rise higher than skyscrapers. This process is still ongoing, making Phong Nha Ke Bang a living system, a testament to the fact that the Earth has never stopped breathing. The landscape here is a fusion of ancient power and natural geometry. Towering limestone cliffs stand like fortress walls. Tropical forests cloak their white-gray surfaces. And beneath them, underground rivers flow like the veins of the planet. Together, they create a vivid geological painting, both fierce and flawless to the point of disbelief. Phong Nha Ke Bang is not only Vietnam's heritage, but a global witness to the creative power of the Earth. Visitors come not just to admire a natural wonder, but to stand before living proof that this planet is still writing its own history, drop by drop, stone by stone, moment by moment. The Marquesas Islands lie in the remote northern reaches of French Polynesia, isolated in the vast Pacific Ocean, a place without surrounding coral reefs, without lagoons, only mountains rising straight from the deep sea. The archipelago has a raw, almost surreal beauty, jagged peaks wrapped in clouds, cliffs splintering into the ocean, and waves that strike the island's base endlessly, as if testing the strength of the earth itself. The atmosphere of the Marquesas is never still. Ocean winds sweep through narrow valleys, producing metallic echoes that carry for miles. When rain falls, it doesn't soak into the soil. It drops directly from the cliffs into the sea, forming hundreds of fleeting white streaks that vanish within minutes. Even the air seems alive. Moisture drifts with the wind, gliding through valleys like threads of smoke, erasing the boundaries between mountain and cloud. The small bays scattered along the islands are born from the endless collision of wind, water, and stone. They are narrow, deep, and ever-changing in color, green at morning, deep blue by noon, and silver gray at dusk. Each bay feels like the ocean's own breath, at once inviting and ominous. People live sparsely along these cliffs, caught between two extremes, the restless sea in front and the impassable mountains behind. The Marquesas are a vision of the world before boundaries existed, where land, water, air, and time merge into a single continuous form. It is not a landscape to be admired, but a presence to be felt, in the wind's movement, in the pulse of the waves, in the resonance between mountain and sea. All together, they form one sound, the heartbeat of a planet still alive. The Serengeti stretches out like an endless ocean of grass across Africa, where the earth reveals its most primal and enduring force of life. Covering more than 15,000 square kilometers, this land was shaped by ancient volcanic eruptions that created a mineral-rich basalt soil. Beneath its surface lies a network of underground water that has sustained life for millions of years, making the Serengeti one of the oldest and most stable ecosystems on the planet. Each year, millions of herbivores move along a circular route that extends for over 500 miles, forming the largest natural migration on Earth. This is not merely a search for water and grass. It is a biological mechanism that keeps the entire ecosystem in balance. Every step carries both life and death. Predators follow the herds, and the remains return nutrients to the soil, beginning a new cycle. The Serengeti is thus compared to the beating heart of the earth, where energy circulates endlessly. The landscape here has almost no boundaries. Grasslands stretch to the horizon, broken only by granite outcrops that rise like the remnants of the planet's crust. From above, the flow of migrating animals forms immense, moving ribbons as if the ground itself were alive. All of this unfolds in perfect rhythm between wind, grass, and life itself. Kilimanjaro National Park is one of Africa's greatest natural icons, located in northern Tanzania near the equator. Covering more than 1,600 square kilometers, the park encompasses the entire volcanic massif of Mount Kilimanjaro, the tallest freestanding mountain in the world, rising alone from the vast Tanzanian plains. What makes Kilimanjaro truly remarkable is the perfect connection between geology, climate, and life. Moisture rising from the rainforest at the mountain's base condenses high above and falls again as rain, creating a closed water cycle that sustains millions of people living around it. Beneath the surface, ancient basaltic soils enriched to feed by volcanic eruptions nourish more than 120 species of mammals and hundreds of plant species that have evolved in isolation, many found nowhere else on Earth. Kilimanjaro National Park is like a vertical microcosm of Earth itself. Each elevation hosts a different world: lush rainforest, mist-shrouded cloud zone, dry savanna, and finally, the realm of rock, wind, and ice. Seen from above, the transformation is surreal: deep green, fading to brown, gray, then pure white, as if the planet were painting its own portrait. Kilimanjaro is not merely a national park, it is living proof of nature's ability to regulate itself. Every stream and every forest here helps stabilize the climate of East Africa. For humans, the ascent through its climate zones is more than a test of endurance. It is a journey through the living mechanisms of the planet, visible beneath each step. Lord Howe Island lies isolated in the Tasman Sea, more than 370 miles off Australia's eastern coast, a small strip of land rising from the heart of an ancient volcano that went dormant over 7 million years ago. Two eroded volcanic peaks form the island's backbone, with a flat valley and a crescent-shaped beach, embracing a coral lagoon between them. The entire island is just over 6 miles long, yet it holds the remnants of a primordial world preserved in the middle of the ocean. Basalt rock, volcanic ash, and coral sand blend together to create a unique geological layer where rainforests grow straight from volcanic soil. The eastern slope rises sharply like a wall, while the western side extends gently with a surrounding coral reef, the only temperate reef on Earth. Warm currents from the equator and cold ones from Antarctica meet here, forming a rare convergence zone where corals, fish, and plants coexist beyond their usual climatic boundaries. Lord Howe Island is a symphony of volcano, forest, and sea, where geology, biology, and time coexist in a state of pristine balance. From the summit of Mount Gower, the entire island appears as a miniature model of Earth itself, the volcano extinct, the forest alive, the sea still in motion, all preserving the shape of the planet's first rise from the ocean. The Daintree rainforest lies in northeastern Australia, where the Great Dividing Range meets the Coral Sea, forming one of the oldest rainforests on the planet. The entire area covers more than 460 square miles, formed during the age of dinosaurs and remaining almost unchanged for 180 million years. Amid humid air and rugged terrain, layers of trees overlap, like the structure of a living prehistoric world. Inside, ancient trees tower hundreds of feet high, their trunks covered in moss and lichen, roots gripping rock to form a living network intertwined with underground streams. Many of Daintree's plants are living fossils, giant ferns, Wollemi pines and fan palms, species that have existed since the continent of Gondwana had not yet split apart. Every leaf and moss-covered branch is a layer of time, recording the history of evolution in its own form. The forest is always in motion. Moisture rises from the ground, condenses into clouds above the canopy, and falls again in a closed cycle. The Daintree River cuts through the forest, flowing to the sea where coral and mangroves meet. A rare boundary between rainforest and reef, two ancient ecosystems coexisting on a narrow strip of land. Daintree is not just a forest, but the original blueprint of life left on Earth. From tree bark and mist to the black soil beneath one's feet, everything bears the mark of hundreds of millions of years. Entering this place is not stepping back in time, but standing still within a world where time has never moved forward. The Banaue rice terraces lie within the Ifugao mountain range in northern Philippines, a landscape rising like colossal walls embracing mist-covered valleys. Over 2,000 years ago, the Ifugao people carved into the mountains, creating thousands of cascading terraces reaching up to nearly 5,000 feet, stretching along the slopes like immense waves of earth. The terraces are supported by stone and clay walls, interconnected through a sophisticated natural hydraulic system. Water from the mountaintops is guided through narrow channels, branching downward into each lower terrace, forming a continuous flow from summit to base. For millennia, this system has functioned in perfect balance, preserving soil, filtering water, and preventing erosion, a testament to the harmony between agriculture and geology. On each level, rice is grown in rhythm with the rainy season, reflecting sunlight like thousands of linked mirrors. When the water recedes, the terraces turn into waves of brown earth. When the rice ripens, the entire mountain range glows golden, as if energy were flowing down its slopes. In the higher regions, fog blankets the terraces, making them appear like floating labyrinths suspended among the clouds. The Banaue rice terraces are where the boundary between nature and architecture disappears. Humanity did not conquer the mountain, but learned to breathe with it, letting water flow, soil settle, and harvests follow their ancient rhythm. Amid the modern world of concrete and steel, these ancient terraces still endure under the same principle that sustained them for 2 millennia. To live with the land is to live as part of it. The Namib Sand Sea stretches along the western coast of Namibia, where the desert meets the ocean in a boundary that cannot be defined. Across nearly 77,000 square miles, enormous dunes rising over 1,000 feet extend all the way to the shoreline, a landscape shaped by wind alone. It is the only coastal sand desert on Earth where moisture from the ocean and heat from the land converge, creating an improbable cycle of life between 2 opposing extremes. The sand of Namib is not just sand. Each grain is a mineral older than 5 million years, eroded from granite and quartzite, carried by wind from deep within the continent to the sea, then blown back inland. This process has repeated millions of times, forming mobile dunes that constantly change shape, moving a few yards each year. Under the sun, the sand shifts in color from burnt orange to deep crimson, resembling the surface of another planet. Within this seemingly lifeless terrain, life persists. Desert beetles collect dew on their backs, lizards bury themselves in cool sand, and ocean fog creeps between the ridges, carrying just enough moisture to sustain minimal life. Many species of plants and animals exist nowhere else. Creatures evolved to survive on vapor from the air rather than surface water. The Namib Sea is where time and motion mean the same thing. Everything changes, but not in ways measurable by humans. The wind builds, the sand erodes, and then rises again. This desert neither stands still nor drifts away. It breathes with the ocean's rhythm, proving that life does not need flowing water, only space in which to exist. The Putarana Plateau lies deep in Siberia, in northern Russia, only a few hundred kilometers south of the Arctic Circle. It is a vast, volcanic highland spanning more than 96,000 square miles, formed by massive lava flows nearly 250 million years ago. The surface of the plateau is made of ancient basalt, stacked in hundreds of layers, each dozens of feet thick. When the lava cooled, it contracted and cracked into regular fissures, creating the distinctive landscape known as the staircase to the sky. Ancient glaciers carved deep into these rocks, forming countless lakes and waterfalls, some plunging straight down more than 300 feet into narrow gorges, filling the region year-round with the sound of falling water. In winter, the entire plateau freezes solid. In the warmer months, melting ice gives rise to thousands of waterfalls flowing simultaneously. Water from the highland lakes drains into the Lena and Yenisei rivers, two of the largest in Asia, making Putarana one of the continent's most important natural freshwater sources. At elevations above 5,500 feet, no large trees grow, only moss, stone, and thin soil resting on permafrost. The Putarana Plateau embodies both extremes of Earth, destruction and balance. There are no roads, no villages, only rock, water, and wind. This landscape needs no conquest and cannot be altered. It endures as a colossal record of what the planet has endured to become itself. Komodo National Park, where volcanoes, deep seas, and dry forests converge in a rugged landscape. Dozens of islands rise from the ocean floor, forming a chain of eroded volcanic peaks with red slopes, white sands, and deep blue waters. The geological structure here was created by the collision of two tectonic plates, causing the land to shift constantly and forming a living archipelago, a place where terrain and biology change every year. On the islands, the soil is made of volcanic ash and rock, mineral-rich, yet dry and hard. Sea winds and intense sunlight create a sparse, low vegetation cover, shaping a rare semi-desert scene within the tropics. From high ridges, one can see the curved streaks of sand bending around crystal-clear water, where coral reefs and deep-sea trenches lie only a few hundred yards apart. A geological structure unlike anywhere else on Earth. Beneath the surface, the Komodo archipelago sits at the meeting point of two of the largest ocean currents, the Pacific and the Indian. The collision of these opposing flows generates powerful whirlpools that lift nutrients from the seabed, making this one of the most biologically diverse marine regions in the world. Coral reefs, sharks, turtles, and giant manta rays all coexist within the continuous movement of water. Komodo is not only known for its namesake dragon, but also for how it exists as a miniature planet, where fire creates land, wind shapes mountains, and water sustains life. Standing atop Pada Island, looking down at the curved chains of islands linked by waves, one can witness something rare, a land where nature is still sculpting its own form. Tongariro National Park lies in the center of New Zealand's North Island, where three volcanoes, Tongariro, Ngauruhoe, and Ruapehu, form a single geological body that is still alive. The landscape here is not only shaped by fire, but also by the ceaseless movement of the Earth itself. Every layer of ash, every ribbon of lava marks an eruption, and the entire region reads like a geological journal still being written each day. The terrain of Tongariro shifts constantly. Plains of ash lie between sheer black cliffs, lakes rest within volcanic craters, and valleys twist where ancient lava once cooled and hardened. The famed emerald and blue lakes shimmer with a deep green hue, their color born from dissolved sulfur and silica that make the surface gleam like liquid metal. All around, the ground exhales thin wisps of steam, the quiet breath of a planet that has not yet fallen asleep. This region is both wild and precise. Every slope and layer of stone reveals the life and death cycle of volcanoes. When an old layer is destroyed, a new one forms right above it, an endless sequence of rebirth. Hardy mountain grasses, lichens, and shrubs are the first to return after each eruption, silently reclaiming the ground before being consumed again in the next wave of fire. Tongariro is not merely a national park, but a living organism. Beneath its quiet soil lies energy still waiting to be released. Above it, ice, water, and ash continuously reshape the surface. Here, one can witness the planet's oldest law, where destruction and creation occur at the same time, within the same breath of the mountain. Victoria Falls lies along the border between Zambia and Zimbabwe, where the immense Zambezi River is suddenly split by a basalt cliff nearly 100 meters deep. The river, almost 2 kilometers wide, plunges in a single drop, forming a continuous wall of water stretching more than 1,700 meters, one of the most powerful hydraulic spectacles ever recorded on Earth. When the water strikes the rock, it sends up a dense mist that rises hundreds of meters high, dimming the sun and turning the valley below into a realm of vapor. The surface of this waterfall is the result of ancient tectonic processes. Millions of years ago, the Zambezi flowed quietly across a flat plain until fractures formed in the basalt beneath it. The river was forced into these fissures, carving deeper over time. As it eroded the hard rock, the waterfall slowly retreated upstream, leaving behind a series of parallel gorges, the remnants of former falls. Every crack and cliff face here is an open chapter in Earth's geological record. Standing at the edge, the ground trembles as if it has a heartbeat. The sound is not a fall, but a pulse, the continuous collision between water and air, a vibration carried through the rock itself. Clouds of mist rise upward, then return as rain, feeding a pocket of rainforest that grows in the middle of Africa's dry plateau, a paradox that exists only in this place. Victoria Falls is not merely a waterfall, but an ongoing act of planetary self-carving. River, rock, vapor, and gravity combine into a single motion, endless, unrepeated. Every drop that falls into the gorge below does more than vanish. It expands the boundary between land and air, between solid and fluid between stillness and life. Jeju Volcanic Island and lava tubes lie off the southern coast of Korea, an island created entirely by fire. Halasan Mountain, rising nearly 2,000 meters high, dominates the center, surrounded by hundreds of smaller craters, all part of the same ancient eruption system. When molten lava met the sea, it cooled into dense black basalt, forming a surface hard and folded like the contracted crust of a living planet. Beneath the island, Jeju's network of lava tubes is a rare geological wonder. Tens of kilometers of natural tunnels formed when the outer layers of magma cooled, while the molten core drained away. The hollow chambers still bear swirling patterns where the lava once flowed. The walls ripple like frozen waves of fire. Some caverns soar more than 10 meters high, vast stone cathedrals adorned with lava stalactites created from drops of molten rock that solidified over thousands of years. Jeju stands as living proof of how Earth transforms chaos into order. Every lava flow, every crack, every basalt column is a record of geological time. Nowhere else shows more clearly that from the destruction of fire, the planet reshapes itself into precision. Raw, ancient, and exact to every fracture. The Canadian Rocky Mountain Parks stretch across more than 23,000 square kilometers along the border between Alberta and British Columbia, a complex of 4 interconnected national parks where the Rocky Mountains reach their most magnificent form. This is a land where rock, ice, and water coexist in perfect balance. Towering snow-covered peaks, vast glaciers, turquoise lakes, and deep valleys carved over millions of years by the collision of continents and the force of climate. The landscape of the Rockies is an open geological map, mountains pushed upward from ancient seabed rock, forming layered cliffs interspersed with narrow valleys and deep glacial lakes. The Columbia Ice Field, one of the largest bodies of ice on the planet outside the polar regions, still slides slowly, inch by inch each day, feeding 3 major river systems that flow into 3 different oceans. Under sunlight, the surface of the ice reflects an unusual blue tone, as if the sky itself were trapped within its frozen crystals. Between the mountain ranges lie countless lakes formed by melting glaciers, where the water mirrors a distinct turquoise hue created by fine rock particles. Waterfalls cascade from hundreds of feet above, cutting through moss-covered and snow-dusted rocks, their echoes resonating through the valleys. The air here is so clear that you can see layers of mist rising from the lake's surface, drifting with the wind as if part of the mountains themselves. The Canadian Rocky Mountain Parks stand as a perfect symbol of Earth's power in a state of stillness. The mountains continue to rise, the glaciers still drift, and the rivers keep carving through stone. Yet all of it happens in silence. Every rock, every lake, every streak of ice is not merely scenery, but a moment recorded in the planet's tectonic cycle, where time does not pass but settles into form. Darien National Park lies on the southeastern edge of Panama, where North and South America connect through the last unbroken stretch of wilderness untouched by humans. Covering more than 5,700 square kilometers, it is one of the most pristine, wild regions in the Western Hemisphere. The landscape of Darien is a rare combination of mountains, swamps, and rainforest. Low mountain ranges run along the center, descending into flooded valleys where dozens of rivers twist and disappear into the forest. Life in Darien grows vertically, the lower layer of roots, fungi and moss, the middle of shrubs and climbing flowers, and the upper canopy, where birds, bats and insects live. Between the trees, the Chukunak and Tuira rivers run beneath a roof of leaves, revealing flashes of silver only in rare openings. Rain doesn't fall in drops, but in sheets, all year long, making the forest land, water, and vapor at once. Darien National Park is the boundary between two worlds, North and South America, land and ocean, motion and stillness. It is not a place to cross, but one where travelers must stop. Every sound, from dripping water to distant insects, reminds us that here, nature still holds the final authority over the shape of the planet. Everglades National Park is the largest wetland in the United States and one of the most complex ecosystems on the planet. Spanning more than 6,000 square kilometers, the entire landscape is a massive, slow-moving river, tens of miles wide. The terrain of the Everglades is almost perfectly flat, so the water doesn't flow in channels but spreads thinly across the plains. Every breeze ripples the surface, turning it into a mirror that shifts color with the clouds. When rain arrives, it fills shallow basins and mangrove swamps, creating a natural network of hidden waterways that regulate the entire ecosystem's water levels. This slowness is what gives the Everglades its name. Plants and water are so intertwined they cannot be separated. Sawgrass grows in endless seas. Mangrove roots cling to mud to form floating forests, while the water's surface reflects the pale blue sky, erasing the boundary between land and space. Everglades National Park doesn't possess the grandeur of mountains or glaciers, but the greatness of stillness. Here, time is not measured in hours or days, but in the speed of flowing water. Every inch of movement in the river of grass marks a trace of life, proof that there are places on Earth that function not through force, but through the patience of nature. East Rennell, part of the Solomon Islands, makes up the eastern section of Rennell Island, the largest raised coral atoll in the world, recognized by UNESCO as a World Natural Heritage Site in 1998. The landscape of East Rennell is composed of fossilized coral, layers of shattered white rock forming a porous, jagged surface. The terrain is uneven, filled with limestone caves and deep sinkholes where rainwater gathers into small ponds. Lake Tengano forms the core of this independent ecosystem. Its water is both salty and fresh, with density changing by season, leading species here to evolve in unique ways. Beneath the surface lie ancient coral reefs still alive, interspersed with mineral-rich mud formed from crushed coral shells. The color of the water shifts constantly, sometimes deep blue, sometimes silver gray, sometimes dark as ink, depending on the light and the wind. East Rennell is the meeting point of sea, forest, and stone, where life does not expand outward, but gathers inward to maintain balance. Here, the water still carries the memory of the ocean, the land retains the shape of coral, and the forest grows upon ancient limestone. The wet tropics of Queensland stretches along the northeastern coast of Australia, spanning more than 400 miles, where ancient rainforests meet the sea. This region is considered a remnant of a tropical ecosystem that has existed continuously for over 100 million years, older than the Amazon. The forest changes with elevation, from mangroves and palms by the coast to layers of giant fern forests, then to thick mist forests surrounding the mountain slopes. Each layer is a world of its own, where plants grow over one another, forming a three-dimensional web. Within the forest lie countless streams and waterfalls, with water flowing over smooth granite rocks, reflecting light into shades of silver green. In many places, vapor rises into the air and returns as rain within the same day, keeping the soil moist and the forest ever growing. Everything functions like a single organism, where air, water, and trees breathe together in the slow rhythm of the planet. The wet tropics of Queensland does not flaunt its power, but embodies endurance. Here, rain never ends, leaves never fall all at once, and time drifts only through humidity. It is a space still unchanged, as if Earth had not yet learned the meaning of limits. Manovo-Gounda St. Florence National Park lies in the northern part of the Central African Republic, where the Sudanese plains meet the edge of the Sahara Desert. Covering more than 17,000 square kilometers, it is one of the largest reserves in Africa. Each rainy season, the Bar Ook and Gounda rivers overflow across the plains, turning the savanna into a vast network of water. When the waters recede, the dry mud cracks apart, revealing reddish-brown soil shimmering with minerals. Upon this ground, grass quickly regrows, forming an endless green carpet. This is the meeting point of two biological worlds, the Central African forest and the East African savanna. Herds of buffalo, antelope, giraffes, elephants, and lions share the open space, moving with the levels of water and wind. Shallow lakes mirror the bright sky where tens of thousands of migratory birds land each year, forming dense black waves of movement over silent grasslands. Manovo-Gounda St. Flores does not display the violence of volcanoes or glaciers, but rather the absolute vastness of the earth itself. Here there are no borders, no center, only the cyclical movement of water, soil, and life. A land that seems to have been created solely to echo the heartbeat of the planet. Ancient Nara is not merely a historical site. It is a model of equilibrium between humanity and the earth. The ancient city stands on a base of basalt mixed with clay, a soil with high elasticity that has allowed temples to survive hundreds of earthquakes. This foundation makes Nara function like a natural balance disc between mountains and plains. Its structures are built from Japanese cypress, a wood with long, vertical grain that can expand and contract without cracking. When humidity changes, the wood emits faint clicking sounds, a natural signal of the material's living state. Thus, in Nara, the walls and pillars are not static. They breathe with the climate, maintaining a dynamic equilibrium. The bronze statues and tiled roofs are coated with an alloy of copper, lead, and mercury. Over time, this mixture forms a green patina that naturally resists oxidation. Under sunlight, the bronze shifts from black to blue-green, giving the illusion of matter flowing. At the city's center, temples are arranged according to the principle of directional airflow. Wind passes through corridors, swirls around wooden columns, and produces deep, resonant tones. It is the true sound of air bent by architecture. The ancients called it the breath of Buddha, while science views it as a perfect harmony between material, proportion, and wind. Hadrian's Wall stretches for more than 73 miles across northern England, not merely a Roman ruin, but a physical incision of power upon the land. It winds along ancient limestone ridges, following cliffs and valleys, as if the Romans did not build a wall, but awakened the natural veins of the earth. The fortification was constructed from local sandstone, bonded with volcanic ash mortar. After thousands of years, wind and rain have eroded its surface, forming countless small round hollows, a natural texture like the skin of a weathered organism. When touched, the surface feels not cold but smooth, like the shell of something fossilized. Certain sections of the wall possess an acoustic property. The wind echoes back at lower frequencies caused by the random gaps between the stones. This minute irregularity helps the structure remain stable, as if the wall itself knew how to absorb energy to defend against collapse. When mist descends, the stones draw in moisture and crystallize into a thin layer of salt that shimmers silver in the wind. Each year, the salt reshapes itself, creating light patterns, what researchers call the breathing rhythm of stone. Scholars describe this as regenerative erosion, where minerals rebuild the surface, allowing the wall to heal itself. Svalbard lies between the Barents Sea and the Arctic Ocean, where ice and rock merge into a single structure. Beneath the glacial mountains lies permafrost that extends more than 1,300 feet deep, an ancient layer containing gases, pollen, and microorganisms from millions of years ago. Nowhere else is time so clearly sealed away. The glaciers here move slower than 30 feet per year, yet weigh billions of tons. As they slide over the bedrock, friction generates slight heat, melting ice at the base and creating underground streams that flow beneath thousands of tons of frozen mass. This water refreezes, allowing the glacier to heal itself after cracking, a vast regeneration cycle of frozen matter. On the surface, snow reflects light into layered halos because the ice crystals in the atmosphere have perfect hexagonal shapes. They scatter white light into hundreds of dim bands, turning the sky into a multi-mirrored surface, not an illusion, but the true optical structure of cold air. Deep inside the island, particles of iron, manganese, and silicon in the rock react with melting ice, producing natural oxidation. This process gives many mountains their red-orange hue, like heated metal. That color does not belong to the soil. It is the burn mark left when the planet cooled itself. Jeju Island is one of the rare proofs of how a planet sculpts itself. The entire island was formed by hundreds of ancient volcanic eruptions, creating a terrain that blends basaltic lava and cooled volcanic ash. This stone layer is extremely porous, allowing seawater to seep deep underground and rise again, forming an interconnected network of underground springs across the island. At the center of Jeju stands Halasan, a massive volcanic mountain over 6,200 feet high, with a lake inside its crater, a rare formation where rainfall and geothermal heat coexist in balance. Here, the ground beneath still radiates warmth, allowing microorganisms to thrive in an environment where life should not exist. The surface of the island is covered with lightweight, hollow black basalt that absorbs sound. When one walks upon it, footsteps seem to vanish, a physical phenomenon that makes it feel as if you are walking on weightless ground. Along the coast, natural stone columns rise vertically like frozen chimneys. Each pillar was born when a flow of lava was abruptly halted by cold seawater, creating giant hexagonal walls. No human hand touched them, only water and fire collaborated in a single moment to produce perfect form. Venice is a city built in the Adriatic Lagoon, where the water stretches all the way to the base of the walls. More than 100 small islands are linked by stone bridges and canals, forming an urban network with no clear boundary between land and sea. Beneath the surface lies a system of wooden stakes that have hardened over centuries, forming the most natural, man-made stone ever created. The buildings erected on that base possess an unbalanced beauty. Walls tilt slightly, foundations sink halfway, yet they remain firm amid the rhythm of waves and tides. The entire city is a structure in slow motion, sinking gradually while being constantly repaired by human hands. Each canal is a street, each bridge an intersection. Water flows around blocks of stone, reflecting red roofs, moss-stained walls, and old bell towers. When the tide rises, the squares turn into mirrors, reflecting the entire city in a perfect inverted image. There are no mechanical sounds, only the splash of oars and the echo of ancient buildings. Venice is where people are bound to the water through both material and craft. From the hidden wooden piles below to the stone bridges above, every layer of the city is built to endure, to exist with the movement of the sea. This landscape does not try to rise above the water, but merges with it, creating a city that both floats and sinks, sustained by its own fragility.